Ever feel like you're kind of stuck with your genes? Like they dictate everything.
Yeah, like your health, your habits, who you are, it's in your DNA, right,
Right.
Bo?
But get ready for a serious shift in perspective because this deep dive is all about how you are not a victim of your genes.
Exactly. We're diving into Dr. Bruce Lipton's The Biology of Belief. It's amazing how he flips the script on traditional genetics.
Yeah, no more blaming grandma for our love of sweets, right?
Right. Lipton wants us to see cells not as like robots just following DNA orders, but as well. Think tiny, smart humans.
So instead of mindless machines, our cells are like little versions of us making decisions.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting. He takes on this idea that genes control everything.
Which, let's be honest, a lot of us kind of just accept as truth.
Right. But he points to all this groundbreaking research that shows it might actually be our environment calling the shots.
Okay, so instead of genes being the blueprint, they're more like, ingredients.
Yeah, ingredients. And our environment. That's what decides what gets cooked up.
I like that. But how? How does our environment actually change things at the cellular level?
Well, Lipton says the cell's membrane, not the DNA inside, is the real key.
Instead of the nucleus where all our genetic material is, that's
Okay.
wild.
Yeah, it's constantly tasting, smelling, feeling the environment, and then telling the cell how to respond.
So it's like the membrane is the brain of the cell.
Exactly. It's the command center.
He even uses this sandwich analogy to describe it, right?
Mm.
I gotta admit, that one threw me a little.
Oh, it's actually pretty brilliant when you break it down. Imagine 2 slices of bread. Those are the outer layers of the membrane.
Okay, I'm with you. 2 slices of bread.
Then there's the butter, the fatty layer keeping things in and out. But here's the kicker. Embedded in that butter are like olives.
Olives. Okay, now I'm really curious.
These olives are proteins, but they act like picky bouncers at a club. Some are receptors, tasting the environment, picking up signals like hormones, even light. Others are effectors, taking those signals and triggering specific actions inside the cell.
Hold on. So some olives let the good stuff in, keep the bad stuff out.
Exactly. And then other olives tell the cell how to react to whatever's going on outside.
Wow, our cells are having this whole conversation with the world around them. But what does that mean for us? We're not single-celled organisms.
It's the same idea, just on a bigger scale. We're in constant communication with our environment, too. Everything, our thoughts, emotions, experiences, it all influences our well-being.
So it's not just nature, it's nurture too.
Way more than we realize. Lipton's point is, we've been looking in the wrong place. It's not just the genes we inherit, it's the environments we inhabit, the ones we create for ourselves that really matter.
Okay, so less blame it on the genes, more take charge of your world.
Exactly.
I like it. But how do thoughts, beliefs, get down to the cellular level? That's where things always get a bit out there for me.
It's where Lipton brings in quantum physics.
Oh boy, quantum physics.
I know. That could be a whole other deep dive. But the key here is that, at its core, matter is energy. Our cells respond to energy fields, including thought, just as much as they do to physical molecules.
Are you saying my thoughts are like little energy waves my cells are swimming in?
Exactly.
So my brain's sending out like vibes and my cells are picking up on them. That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is, and it makes you wonder, right? If that's true, could we think ourselves sick?
Or healthy.
Exactly. And that leads us to one of the most fascinating pieces of evidence we have for this mind-body connection, the placebo effect.
Right. You give someone a sugar pill, tell them it's a miracle cure, and suddenly they're feeling better.
And it's not just in their heads either. There are actual measurable changes happening in the body.
It's like our beliefs have this hidden pharmacy inside us, dispensing healing chemicals based on what our minds believe.
Exactly. Lipton even talks about this guy who cured what was considered a genetically predetermined disease just through the power of belief.
And then there are those sham knee surgeries, where people who got a fake procedure felt just as good as those who had the real deal.
It's incredible. It's like our bodies believe themselves well.
Wow. So our beliefs, whether we're aware of them or not, are super powerful.
Absolutely. They act as filters shaping not just our perception of the world, but our physical reality too.
Okay, I'm all for positive thinking, but this is next level stuff. So you telling me if I just believe I'm healthy, I'll be fine?
Well, if only it were that simple. Lipton says there's more to it than that. He introduces this idea of dual minds, the conscious and the subconscious.
Oh, okay, I've heard of this. So the conscious mind, that's the one we're familiar with, right?
Right, the planner, the list maker, the one trying to eat healthy and make good choices.
And the subconscious?
Think of it like a vast storehouse of beliefs, habits, Automatic responses often formed in early childhood running below the surface, and it's way more powerful than our conscious mind.
Okay, so like an iceberg. The conscious mind is the tip we see, but the subconscious, that's the massive chunk underwater controlling everything.
A perfect analogy. Lipton actually uses this striking visual of Machu Picchu to explain it. Imagine that image made up of millions of pixels, each representing a bit of information our nervous system processes every second.
Okay, I can picture it.
Our conscious mind can only handle a tiny fraction of that.
So we're trying to steer this ship with limited information while our subconscious is working off of old, outdated maps.
Exactly. And not just outdated maps, maybe even some maps that weren't ours in the first place.
What do you mean?
Well, that's where things get even trickier. If those subconscious beliefs are negative, like if we were told as kids we were clumsy or always getting sick, they can override our best intentions.
It's like driving with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. No wonder so many of us feel stuck. But where do these deep-seated beliefs come from?
Well, Lipton dives deep into this idea of parental programming, highlighting the incredible influence parents have on a child's development even before birth. He uses this very poignant phrase, "You are just a glimmer in your parents' eyes."
Meaning, even back then, our parents' beliefs, fears, experiences were already shaping who we'd become.
Exactly. And he points to this concept called genomic imprinting, suggesting that a parent's environment, their diet, their stress levels, even their emotional state, can actually influence gene activity in the developing fetus.
Wow, so we're not starting with a blank slate after all. We inherit a lot more than we realize. But if we're carrying all this baggage, is there any hope of breaking free? Can we rewrite those old programs?
That's the big question. And luckily, Lipton offers a resounding yes.
Yeah, okay, good. So there's hope for us yet? But this rewriting process, how do we even begin to change something so deep-seated?
Well, Lipton's big on self-awareness. Like, first, we got to shine a light on those subconscious beliefs, those hidden programs running in the background, right?
Yeah, but those beliefs can be sneaky. How do we even know what they are?
It's true, it can be tricky. Lipton says mindfulness, therapy, journaling, those can be super helpful for tuning into those thought patterns, really starting to question where they came from.
So we start questioning those old beliefs instead of just accepting them as truth.
Yeah.
But then what? How do we actually change them?
It's about consciously choosing a different path, right? And Lipton really emphasizes the importance of love in this process.
Not just romantic love, right?
Right. More like a deep sense of connection, compassion, even for ourselves. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and choosing love as the driving force in our lives.
I like that. So it's less about survival of the fittest and more
Yes, survival of the most loving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But how does that actually play out in our lives?
Well, Lipton brings up this idea of conscious parenting, which really resonated with me.
It's not just about raising well-behaved kids, is it?
No, not at all. It's about understanding the profound impact we have on shaping young minds, It's about breaking those cycles of negative programming and creating an environment where future generations can thrive.
It's a pretty incredible vision for a better future. But it also feels like, a call to action for all of us. We're not just inheriting our genes. We're inheriting a world that's been shaped by generations before us. So what will we choose to pass on?
That's the big question, isn't it? If our beliefs shape our reality, what reality will we create? What legacy will we leave behind?
Whoa, that's a lot to ponder. Well, if you're as intrigued by all this as I am, we encourage you to check out Dr. Bruce Lipton's The Biology of Belief. We've also got some great resources in the show notes about conscious parenting and its impact on future generations. Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive.